Hello, I'm Kevin. This is Sports Lab 100, talking about Golden State Warriors. Specifically, talking about Michael Piétrus. Because sometimes the guy who changes a playoff game is not always the superstar. He's just the dude who checks in, and suddenly everything starts moving faster. This is Warrior 49, Michael Piétrus. April 29th, 2007, this is Game 4 of the Western Conference first round. By now, the Dallas Mavericks, they've already figured out something's gone very wrong. Dallas went 67-15. That was the best record in the NBA. They were the defending Western Conference champions, and Dirk was about to be named league MVP. Golden State was 42-40. They barely got in. The Warriors finished the regular season on a 16-5 heater just to grab the number 8 seed. That ended a 13-year playoff drought. There's one detail that should have scared Dallas a lot more than it obviously did. Golden State swept the Mavericks 3-0 during the regular season. Then Game 1 happened. Warriors won in Dallas 97-85, and Dallas answered in Game 2. Then everybody came to Oakland. Oracle Arena turned into a madhouse, and Golden State wrecked them 109-91 in Game 3. So now the 8th seed leads the best team in basketball, 2-1. Win tonight, and the Warriors aren't just threatening an upset. They're putting a 67-win team, one game from summer vacation. Michael Piétrus was born February 7th, 1982, in Les Abymes, Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe is a French territory in the Caribbean, and Piétrus grew up there before heading to mainland France as a teenager to pursue basketball seriously. And he joined Pau Orthez. That was one of the major clubs in French basketball. He wasn't alone. His older brother, Florent, was there. So was another young French prospect named Boris Diaw. Piétrus developed into an explosive 6'6" wing who could defend, run the floor, and detonate around the rim. Long before everybody casually called guys 3-and-D wings, Piétrus was basically being built for that job. He helped Pau Orthez win French League championships in 2001 and 2003, plus the French Cup in 2002 and 2003. The NBA noticed. Golden State took him 11th overall in the 2003 draft. That was a loaded draft, by the way. LeBron James went first, Carmelo Anthony third, Chris Bosh went fourth, Dwayne Wade went fifth. And sitting there at number 11, the Warriors grabbed this athletic kid from Guadeloupe who'd already had several seasons of professional basketball in his pocket. As a rookie, Piétrus only averaged 5.3 points, played about 14 minutes a night, but his role steadily grew. By 06-07, he was having the best statistical season of his NBA career. 11.1 points per game, 4.5 rebounds. He shot 49% from the field and 39% from three, while appearing 72 times. He started 38 games, and Piétrus could look spectacular one night and just chaotic the next. Honestly, that made him a particularly good fit for this specific Warriors team, because Don Nelson, rest in peace, wasn't trying to make basketball orderly. He wanted speed, he wanted mismatches. And when Golden State started flying around defensively and turning everything into a track meet, Air France made a whole lot of sense. He already had international experience with France, winning bronze at Eurobasket in 2005 and playing in the 2006 FIBA World Championships. So he's 25 years old here. He's 4 seasons into his NBA career, and tonight he's about to play one of the most memorable games that he ever played for Golden State. And since we're hanging around the 2006-07 NBA for a minute, here's something slightly bizarre. This season began with a different basketball. because the NBA replaced the traditional leather ball with a synthetic microfiber ball before the season. Players started complaining about it pretty much right away. Some said it was slippery and wet. Others complained it was cutting their fingers. Their fingers were bleeding. The Players Association got involved, and the experiment went so badly that David Stern announced the old leather basketball was coming back on New Year's Day. All was quiet. So somewhere in an alternate universe, the We Believe version of the Warriors that we remember made this entire run with the weird basketball that everybody hated. Instead, even the basketball itself had already been eliminated long before the playoffs started. So Dallas comes out looking like a team that understands the particular emergency they're in. The Mavericks build an early 9-point lead, and Golden State looks a little slow. Then Piétrus checks in, and everything gets louder. Jason Richardson misses a jumper. Piétrus comes flying in and hammers home the putback. Then he grabs a defensive rebound in traffic. Jason Terry gets what looks like an easy layup, but Piétrus comes streaking in from behind and blocks it. Then he starts shooting. 3. Then another 3. That second one tied the game at 42 with 2 minutes left in the half. Dallas spent most of the half trying to stabilize this series and destabilize the Warriors. Piétrus helped completely erase the advantage. And then Baron Davis does Baron Davis stuff. At the halftime buzzer, Davis launched one from midcourt, bank, 49-49. And Oracle starts losing its mind. The third quarter didn't settle anything either, because after 3, still tied, 77-77. And with about 4 minutes left in the game, Dallas has a 90-86 lead. This is where the season should start acting normal again. The 67-win team should close it out, right? The 8th seed should blink, right? Wrong. Golden State goes on a 10-0 run. Richardson jumps a passing lane and gets the ball to Baron Davis, who beats Nowitzki down the floor for the layup. 91-90 Warriors. Oracle is basically vibrating. Davis finds Andris Piétrus for a dunk. Richardson gets another steal. Davis hits a fadeaway. Then Matt Barnes drills a 3, 99-93. There's 23 seconds left. That's it, right? Well, somehow Dallas still refuses to die. Nowitzki, of course it's Nowitzki, right? He hits 2 late threes, and suddenly the Mavericks have one final heartbeat. But Golden State just needs one more defensive play. Dallas tries to inbound with 1.8 seconds remaining. Piétrus steals it. Ball game. Warriors 103, Mavericks 99. Mickaël Piétrus finishes with 16 points, 5 boards, and 2 steals in just under 27 minutes. He shoots 4 of 9 from the floor, gets 2 threes, and goes 6 of 8 from the line. Baron Davis gets 33. Jason Richardson scores 22. But if Piétrus doesn't come off that bench and change the energy when Golden State starts to look bad in the first half, did this game ever reach the insane finish? Maybe not. That's the question. Because on this night, Air France didn't just provide highlights. He helped put the best team in basketball on the brink of elimination. The Warriors' locker room sounded exactly like you'd imagine. Matt Barnes sums it up cleanly. We refuse to lose tonight. Golden State trailed by 9 points twice. Dallas had a 4-point lead very late, but that didn't matter. Stephen Jackson talked afterward about how an earlier version of this same Warriors team probably wouldn't have survived a game like this. But now, he said, they're learning to stay composed and finding new ways to win. That might be the weirdest part of the whole We Believe run. Because the basketball looked completely insane. But the Warriors themselves, they were starting to believe the insanity was repeatable. Davis said, as long as we believe in ourselves, we'll be okay. And Piétrus gets plenty of attention in the local coverage, not just for the 16 points. The Chronicle specifically highlights that first half burst, the putback, the rebound in traffic, the block, and the two well-timed three-pointers. Then there's that last steal. Dallas never even got a final shot. The series was 3-1. Then Golden State now had 3 chances to eliminate a team that won 25 more games than they did through the regular season. So my question is, when did you realize this wasn't just a cute upset attempt anymore? Because for me, this game was probably that moment, because 3-1 changes everything. Dallas barely survived Game 5. The Mavs won 118-112 after Golden State let a late lead get away. Everybody headed back to Oakland again. Then Game 6 becomes the coronation. Steven Jackson hits seven threes. Golden State blows Dallas apart in the third quarter. They outscored them 36-18. Dirk Nowitzki scored 8 points on 2 of 13 shooting. Is that right? 13? Whatever. 111-86. Put a fork in them. The 8-seeded Golden State Warriors became the first 8 seed ever to beat a 1 seed in a best-of-7 NBA playoff series. By the way, it's also their first series victory since 1991. Dallas, 67 wins, MVP season from Nowitzki, gone in round 1. Golden State moved on to Utah, where the ride finally starts running out of gas. The Jazz take the second-round series 4-1. So no championship, no conference finals, just 11 playoff games. And yet, somehow that's enough to make the 2007 Warriors one of those teams that people still talk about nearly 20 years later. Sometimes you don't have to win the whole thing to become immortal. So, Piétrus, he plays one more season with the Warriors. His role dropped in 2007-08. And that summer, he left Golden State for Orlando. And that move gave him another major playoff chapter. The 2008-09 Magic win 59 games behind Dwight Howard and reach the NBA Finals. Piétrus is an important perimeter defender all season, including plenty of work against LBJ in the ECF. So Orlando beat Cleveland. Then Kobe and the Lakers beat the Magic in 5 for the championship. Piétrus stayed in Orlando through the beginning of 2010-11 before getting traded to Phoenix. That was that deal that moved Vince Carter and Marcin Gortat to the Suns. Later, Piétrus spends a season in Boston, including another run to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then Toronto. His final NBA season is 2012-13. 10 NBA seasons, 557 regular season games. Career averages 8.3 points, 3.1 rebounds, with a 35.5% mark from 3. Piétrus was never a superstar. He wasn't supposed to be. What he was an athletic wing who could defend, knock down threes, and turn an ordinary possession into something violent around the rim. And somehow he managed to land on 2 unforgettable playoff teams, the We Believe Warriors, then the 2009 Orlando Magic. Piétrus eventually returns to basketball outside the NBA, playing briefly in Puerto Rico in 2015, before heading back to France and joining Sluck Nancy. There he was reunited with his brother, Florent, and that's a pretty fitting final chapter for a career that began with 2 brothers leaving Guadeloupe and chasing basketball together. Next time we jump about 19 years into the future, November 16th, 2025. Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, and Bryce Young is coming off a game where he threw for 124 yards and heard about it all week long. So what does he do? He goes to Atlanta and throws for a Carolina Panthers franchise record 448 yards with 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Carolina comes back from 14 down sends the game to overtime, and Bryce produces the biggest passing day any quarterback has ever had for the Panthers. That's Panther 2, Bryce Young. And this one might be the game where the whole argument about what he could become starts to change. But this one belonged to Michael Piétrus. 16 points off the bench, a jolt when Golden State needed one, and that one final steal, with Dallas desperately trying to keep its season from sliding towards the edge. The Warriors didn't know yet that they were about to finish one of the greatest first-round upsets in NBA history, but after April 29, 2007, they were just one win away. And by then, everybody believed. We believe. Yeah, I'm Kevin. Thanks for stopping by. Maybe I'll see you next time. And, we believe. Go Warriors.